So cover crops are always going to vary depending on your winters and everything. We usually only tickle the 30s, once in a while the 20s in California. It's usually a vetch, rye, peas, fava beans, mustard. Those are kind of the common. So what you want to do with cover crops, I don't know how it is here. In general, you want to try to get them going in the fall and established so they're growing. So one of the things about some cover crops, they can be kind of small or not quite ready sometimes, and you got to till them in. But it's still, you know, like I need to plant that field next week, but it's still better than not. You're suppressing erosion, you're suppressing bad weed growth. So in a big area, it's always nice for cover crops. I've seen people grow mini cover crops in the raised bed, and it's a lot of work and kind of a hassle, in my opinion. If you had, I'd rather grow real edible peas or lettuce, or just add that little bit of cover crop you got going. Ain't gonna add nearly as much nutrients as a 2 to 3 inch layer of compost would. So, back to
how do you treat blight?
Blight, yeah, don't say that word. So blight's kind of a Scrooge. Some varieties are better than others. Some environments, obviously, depending on the condition. When I've had it the worst, typically what happens, it'll be mid to late summer. The blight spores are actually in the atmosphere, and they can sense like the perfect conditions coming. They'll mass multiply. Thunderstorms come, that rain droplet is collecting spores all the way down. They land right on the surface of your leaf. So keeping the microbe army, even in the ground, those microbes and bacteria and fungi that are beneficial will be living on every surface of your plant. And there's actually some interesting breakthrough plant extracts and mineral oils that have had really, really good success that I'll be trialing this year too. So they're organic sprays, air circulation, pruning leaves that you don't need for either plant production or covering your fruit. So air circulation, varieties, a little luck. And if you get it bad all the time, find an organic spray and get to the plant before the fungal issues get to it. You know, start early and stay with it.
Some organic sprays?
Spinosad, I think, is one. There's, God, they got all these names I can't think of. It's hard to say what's available here. You know, we have this raging cannabis industry in California that's where all the real products are actually coming. It's because technology follows money. So some of the new innovations that are completely organic, you said you were talking plant or mineral extracts, they're coming in the future. And if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I'm going to be experimenting with some of these this year, and I'll let you know how they use. But I already know that a multi-billion-dollar industry has been relying on these, and they're kind of new, and they're top of the line. These are products you can drink. These are just a small part of a bug or a plant or something. So it's the new science for organic farming, low impact, is available, and it's coming. So.
You did testing on organic fertilizer as far as taste-wise.
Oh, so you're asking organic fertilizer taste-wise, is that a factor? What I would say is the healthiest tomato plant has given me, you know, usually we'll have nice thick cell walls, healthy, has had the ability to produce all those chemical components that it's genetically potential to. So I've seen for sure the healthiest environment's organic. So I would say that in general, yes. You could take a little Miracle Grow raised plant and neglect it and get some really tasty little tomatoes off of it or something. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but overall, I think that organic would have the potential, at least, to give your healthiest, best tasting tomato too. Just, like I say, because your cell walls aren't neglected, it wasn't anemic and out of something, so it couldn't even produce certain flavonoids and chemicals in the fruit because it was, you know, it didn't have it in it or whatever. So at least the potential's definitely there. 5 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, Cosmic Eclipse, Part 4, vernissage. I'm trying horizontal trellising with 2 cattle panels on T-posts. Would you have an idea on what height to do those 2 panels?
So you have a cattle panel, several plants, and what's vertical? They go up, and then you're wanting to
the cattle panels are horizontal.
Okay.
Like that.
And are you going to lean them up? Or are they going to be all by themselves?
They're going to stay horizontal on the attached to the post.
Okay. What I do is just try to weave some through different areas, using a little bit of string or something, tying some branches here or there. If your plants are doing really good, as far as pruning, A lot of times if it's mid to late summer and you got a bunch going everywhere, I call them Medusa heads that's still wanting to grow, I actually will cut about a third of those every 3 days. You don't want to cut a bunch and let the sun shine where the sun didn't shine. That can really scar your tomatoes and everything. But if you got a bunch of growth, it's into late September, you're like, those flowers aren't turning into tomatoes anyways. You start whacking a few of the arms off here and there, and more of the energy is going to go to the tomatoes that you already have too. It's kind of a judging your tomato. Yeah, late September, I only got X amount of weeks left. I'm going to forget about these flowers, these small tomatoes, whatever, and I want all the energy to go into those ripe ones, what's there when I get it out. So.
What's the best way to tell a true branch versus a sucker what you're going to trim off?
Okay, so a true branch to a true branch and a sucker are technically the same. The plant is made up of a stem, the leaf that comes out, and then the crotch that grows out of that is an indeterminate branch that is technically started as a sucker. So I'd say for my thing as a sucker, it's called a sucker when it's small. Once it gets big, people start calling it a branch. So it's actually the same one. It's just a matter of which suckers you want to turn into branches that you leave there.
Okay, so we're in northern Wisconsin, and you talk about trimming back not too much because of too much sun. I mean, we don't have a very long growing season, so does that make a difference how much?
Yeah, so in cool climates, you can take advantage of that. Along the coast, the Pacific coast in California, they also have very mild, cool. Anything over 90 is typically the cross line that will sunburn your tomatoes. So if you're running late in the season, by removing extra stuff, it gets its butt in gear and focuses. In other words, the tomatoes, it's got plenty of water, plenty of nutrients, and it thinks it's still got plenty of long days. And all of a sudden, wow, it's like, whoa. Oh, okay, yeah. Because really what the tomatoes plant is, its mission in life is to produce a viable seed, and that only comes in a ripe fruit. So if it thinks it has plenty of time, it'll take its time. Start doing a little bit of backing off on the water. I've even taken a shovel and cut roots here and there. If it's late in season, like get your butt in gear. How about if you're missing toes, you know, and then it'll get, you know, it'll start focusing more on the end is actually coming. It can sense fall and the end is coming and stuff, and then it'll get its butt in gear and develop ripe seed because it wants to give you ripe fruit because it's there's viable seeds in there. That's its whole mission. Go one more. The shaking the plant for pollination. Should have mentioned that for sure. So pollination, hot, humid, sticky, windless mornings, a lot of times the blossoms will drop. They didn't pollinate. Like I said, the pollen's right there, pollen receiver's right here, but it can just stay there, especially with humidity, it gets stuck. What I like to do is wait until, in my area, it's 8, 9 in the morning when it's about 70, 75 degrees when the pollen flies the best in the morning, and go and just tap and shake the plant. You'll actually make the pollen fly. And in greenhouses, with no wind, if you grew a tomato in here with 0 wind or whatever, if it had a light, it wouldn't, most of the tomatoes would not set without like you know, a pollinator or tapping or a vibration device on the flowers to shake the pollen. So that's a great one I should have brought up, is tapping the blooms when they come out. And typically it's mid-morning, 70 degrees. That's when the pollen wants to fly. And shake the cage, shake the strings, shake the whole plant. Beat it. Don't beat the blooms off, but almost to that. It doesn't kill them, makes them stronger. So anyways, thank you very, very much. Stickers, whatever. I'll be outside. I'll go out off to the side. If you got any other questions, track me down over there. We'll go out here or something away from the people and still talk tomatoes. That's why I live and breathe. Thank you.